Alright guys, we have finally hit book 9, Feversong of the Fever series by Karen Marie Moning. And it turns out that she is closing off an arc in this book. Remember that whole like Sinsar Dubh arc that she started in book 1 and then kind of forgot about by book 5?
And then picked up in book 7-ish.
Yeah, that's back and that's being ended.
I found it kind of disappointing.
I'm kind of like it's more of the same, but I was really kind of bored at the same time.
Yeah, like the thing about the Fever books and why I keep coming back to the Fever books is one, they are extremely addicting. They're very easy to get through. You put back that 600 pages in 2 days. I had a hard time getting through this because it just felt like nothing was happening. It was just a lot of characters like introspection on what is happening and who should I end up with and blah blah blah.
And then things happen when they shouldn't be happening or they happen too soon and you're like, this is completely destroying the plot.
And random plot lines are just dropped.
Yeah. So the big one that was just like, why is this happening, how this is happening, was the actual Sinsar Dubh thing where, you know, Mac is being possessed by the book and she has to figure out how to get it to release its control. That is literally like the first 20% of the book. And she figures out how to defeat it and she gets rid of it. It's not in her anymore. It's not bugging her.
We had bets. I thought she was going to deal with the book by the end of this book. You thought it wasn't going to be until the next book. Well, you thought it was going to like drag out because like this is the plot we have been building up to. This is the big thing. This is not something that should be dealt with in the first third of the stupid book. This is something that should have like a
giant climax at the end.
But no.
So what happens with that arc is, you know, we cut in right where we left off. Mac is on the table about to be operated on by the sweeper, and then she opens the book and it possesses her to say, because she was trying to save Dani, and you know, book takes her over. Dani realizes it immediately, takes the big dangerous weapon away from it, runs away, and kind of tells her allies, and then the book goes on a rampage.
And you know what? That was fun. The book chapters were doing what Karen Marie Moning does the best, and that's just like her ridiculous just like talking to you thing where the book is just constantly it's screaming at you about, you know, I am vengeance, I am lust, there is no such thing as love.
I am the best thing in the world.
And it's fun. You just feel like that would be the most fun character to write because it's just like, what is coming to my mind? It's screaming it now.
Yeah.
And kills everyone. Kills Joe.
And it is so like ADD that it just like fucks itself over all the time. Like it'll be like, I need max power to do this thing, but oh look, I ate a shit ton of unseelie. Well, now I'm screwed.
What's food?
What's sleep?
You mean if I eat this person, it's not gonna give me energy? Just like, oh honey, you've been riding around in Mac for how long? You can see what she is doing.
You must have figured this.
You must have figured this shit out.
Have you not been preparing for this day? Like, so yeah, the book is running around crazy. The big thing that it did that like got me was it killed Joe, because we have been a fan of Jor, that romance, since it began, and we loved it and it was the best thing ever. And so when she died violently at the hands of the book, you're just like, but my romance plot that I was actually interested in, no!
It's very abrupt, and it's not even like an abrupt, oh, this is meant to shock you. It's just like, oh, I don't have time for this plot line, let's just fucking take her out.
Yeah,
like,
right.
It feels like she's abandoned something.
Yeah, she's just like, oh, this is convenient, might get a reaction from some people, let's just do it.
The book also releases Cruz, who people seem to be cool with. You know, the villain from the first arc, just...
No biggie. The book rides around doing nothing, really. Shoots itself in the foot multiple times, and then Mac finally realizes in a moment that was like ripped straight out of the labyrinth, like, you have no power over me, and just kind of like leaves it behind.
I mean, she also gets the power of the Seelie Queen, so now Mac is the Seelie Queen.
And every time, like it bugs me every time, because Mac is always like, I want to be normal Michaela again. But all this has happened to me and I can never go back. But I'm gonna keep trying to be normal Michaela again.
Cruz might not be such a bad person, maybe I could give him the power.
And so she's like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna, give the Seelie Queen, or I'm gonna give the Seelie Queen power to Cruz. And you're like, stop trying to be normal. So after Mac gets rid of the stupid fucking book, it sits in a cage for another 400 pages until it needs to come in for its big
anticlimactic attack.
yeah, at the very end when they're about to win, and it's just like,
No!
And they do stupid things too, like they're like, oh yes, now the Sinsar Dubh doesn't have a body, so we're just gonna leave this conveniently unconscious corpse right here. Nothing bad could possibly happen.
The rest of the book is them trying to figure out the song of the making so that they can get rid of the big black holes, because the black holes, they're afraid that when the black holes touch the earth, it's just gonna suck everything in. If earth gets destroyed, all of the fairies will die because the seat of the fairy power is tied to earth.
Conveniently.
What ends up happening is they realize the Unseelie King kind of like pops in as the dreamy guy.
I cannot stand how he talks. Every time. Like, their conversations drive me insane. I don't know if everybody's seen it, but there's Morden in Mass Effect, and he talks the same way, but somehow on him it's cute. On this guy, I want to strangle him.
It's like Karen Marie Moning is attempting to do an eldritch horror. What I liked about the Unseelie King when we met him in the first arc is when Mac realizes that he is spread out among all of these people. Like, his consciousness is so big that it can't be held in a teeny tiny human body, and there are all these people who have been in her life, like her gym teacher, or a librarian, or the dreamy guy. They're all the Unseelie King at once. Cool. So we come across the dreamy guy in this book, and he's like, I am the Unseelie King, but I'm not, because I didn't go back with, like, I didn't leave with him, so I'm kind of like a shell still walking around. The way he speaks is very fragmented. And then when Mac gets the power and she's talking to him, she keeps describing it's like, yeah, you know, he's this and this at the same time, and he's like, he oozes and just like, I'm like, I see what you're trying to do, but it's just not working. So then we find out that he actually did succeed. He managed to create the song of the making, but he realized to sing the song, it would kill all of the Unseelie, and so he sacrificed his greatest love for his children, and he didn't betray the Fae, and it's just like, this feels a little retconny, but, and then you find out that half of the song was put into the music box in the concubine's room, and the other half was given to Cruz. And so Cruz realizes that if he wants to have the song of the making, he has to give it to Max so they can put it together, but once the song of the making gets sung, all of the Unseelie are gonna die, and
including
him, and Cruz wants to be the king of his people. He wants to see the Seelie court burn. There's no way that he's gonna survive, so might as well take everybody down with him.
And then we get the scene from The Matrix!
And then we find out Cruz is just like, no, haha, that's totally not what I meant. I'm actually kinda into you. You would be my consort, and I was waiting for you to call, and you just never called, and I'm like, Mac, honey, he raped you.
For God's sake!
Oh my God, like, oh!
And he's like, no, it wasn't rape, you enjoyed it sexually. And she's like, for God's sake, it was rape. And he's like, no, it wasn't rape. And she's like, okay.
It is so gross. It is just so, and he's like, I'll give you the song, but kiss me, and kiss me like you love me, a la The Matrix. And it's just like, this is just wrong. Like,
just,
I don't know what you're trying to do, because there's like this one offhand line where when she's trying to be like, you know, you raped me, and she's like, but you don't understand that because like you
just don't.
You don't, and it's just, oh, it's just
like banging your head against the wall.
It puts you in a really uncomfortable place.
Like if you're trying to explain to a serial killer that they've wronged you.
But we get the song, and we sing the song, and we fill the holes, and her sister dies. The end. So at the same time, we have Riodan's storyline, and we have Dani and Dancer. Everybody knows that Dani is going to end up with Riodan.
It's no secret.
It's no secret. Like, she's been aged up specifically for that in the books that I ignore from this series. But, you know, Dancer's her best friend, and like, okay, Riodan has this just beautiful, awful, weird writ where he's just like, you know, if I fuck her, she'll become more like me. So that's how it works.
But if she fucks him, she'll become more like him. I wasn't aware that, you know, you get a personality transplant when somebody puts their dick in you.
I won't be her first, but I'll be her last. And I'm like, this is uncomfortable.
I remember highlighting that line and just be like, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark.
This is so uncomfortable. And so we have to find a way to get Dancer out of the picture, because we can't just like, he's not gonna back down, right? We kind of like work in, surprise, he has a heart condition and he can drop at any moment. And I'm like, okay, fine. And every time that they're alone together for the last third of the book, I'm like, they're gonna wake up in bed together. and he's gonna be dead. Like, you know, with the last book, I was feeling more forgiving, right? Like, I'm just like, I accept you, Fever series, for what you are. You freak me out a little bit, you make me a little bit uncomfortable, your gender roles a little outdated. I'm back where I started.
And other things that got just kind of written over Kat Castillo training in the basement, that was all summed up in one paragraph where she's like, oh yeah, they're out of the basement, and also Kat's boyfriend, who she was kind of into, became an unseelie prince. Oh yeah, they're gone now.
The police officer is becoming I think he's a Sealy prince.
Mm-hmm. And then there was, of course, the fact that after Joe gets pummeled into the ground, nobody acknowledges it.
Lore comes in, I think it was page 372, something like that, because Lore comes into the bookstore and says to Mac, it's like, hey, okay, I know you're the Sealy Queen now, but understand that someone killed Joe and I am going to kill them. This is just, stay out of my way. Mac automatically texts Barons and is just like, Lore is going to, like, become a mass murderer again. And Barons is just like, got it. And then Mac has a moment where she's like, oh my god, no one's gonna respect me if I just hide behind my man all the time. And I'm like, okay, this is character development. I think I'm okay with this. Okay, and so then she goes and she faces down Lore and she screams at Lore, and Lore is just like, I didn't love her, but like,
I could've.
And she's like, Joe was my friend. I've known her for longer, blah 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 blah. I have to live with this. And so then she kills Lore to make a statement.
It's kind of fun.
Those like 5 pages were probably my second favorite part of the book because I'm like, oh,
something's happening. We're finally acknowledging Joe's violent death. Because they mention it offhand, but Lore, who's been like into her for a long time, no reaction, and you're just like, we're not gonna talk about this, we're not gonna discuss it, we're not gonna.
And Laura's just like, no one cares. She's been dead for how long now and no one cares. Yeah. Everyone's forgotten her. I want to know more about Laura because the more you hear about him, the more interesting. Like, she's just like, oh yeah, you know, we found him drinking with Vlad the Impaler at one point, and I'm just like, why are we dealing with these people? I want to know about Laura's like crazy
sordid past.
Yeah. He hung out with Genghis Khan. Oh, sorry, Genghis Khan.
There you go.
Sorry, Dan. Overall, it just felt very rushed. I know that when the next book comes out, I will read it because I'm weak, but
like, I'm okay with it.
Don't feel how when the last book came out, I was like, oh my god, I can't wait for the next book. That was such a crazy cliffhanger. Like, what's gonna happen now?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm fine. I'll read the next one, but this is not gonna be your favorite one in the series.
No.
So yeah, shit goes down. They figure shit out. Okay, guys. So that was our review of Karen Marie Moning's Feversong. Let us know what you have thought of this book, the series, anything else that you've read that's equally as and we'll talk to you later, guys.